He definitely deserves this. Marcus Smart, one of the leaders and voices of this Boston Celtics, heart and soul of this team since 2014, since they drafted him, had his first appearance back in Boston since leaving this offseason in a deal for Kristaps Porzingis, and the fans absolutely greeted him with mass amazement. And we're here to break down how impactful Marcus Smart was to this team and how a great ovation he got tonight and how much he definitely deserved it. All of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. But before we dive into this Boston Celtics content and coverage, 78% of you guys are not subscribed. It would greatly appreciate it if you guys hit that big old red subscribe button and join the Celtics Digest family. We're on our way to get 4,000 subscribers, so if you want to make sure to stay up to date on daily Boston Celtics content and coverage, hit that subscribe button, as you definitely won't regret it. But let's dive in onto this news covering the Boston Celtics. Make sure to grab a snack, as today is going to be a jam-packed episode as we dive in looking at Marcus Smart getting what he deserved, and that was a standing ovation tonight in Boston. I know I was very ecstatic. Marcus Smart was my favorite Boston Celtic player. Drafted in 2014, the heart and soul of this Boston Celtics culture, one of the longest tenured players on this championship run, and the voice and leader for these championship runs. I'm wearing my Marcus Smart shirt. I don't know if you can see it, but I was jam-packed. I was excited for his return tonight, and so were a bunch of other Celtics fans. We're going to be breaking down Marcus Smart's response before the game, his response after the game, and just overall the great amusement that happened in tonight's spectacle of a game. First, we're going to be diving in, looking at a tweet talking about Jayson Tatum talking to Abby Chin after the game, talking about Marcus Smart's multiple ovations received tonight at the TD Garden, saying it was great to see the reception that he got. Being here for 10 years, he was the heart and soul of this organization, and people showed their respect and love today. He deserved it. He deserved it all. And I totally agree with Jayson Tatum on this response. Like I mentioned, Marcus Smart being my favorite Celtic player, I'm a diehard Marcus Smart Celtic fan, and I think he truly embodied what a Boston Celtic was. Diving for those loose balls, fighting for those charges, being an all-out grit and grind guy, and he really, really gave it his all. Yes, sometimes he took some bonehead shots. Yes, sometimes he got a little too comfortable in that offense. But honestly, he made the smart play and the right play 85% of the time for this Boston Celtics team. And for them competing for those championships and making such those deep playoff runs, having such tight bonds with Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, it's definitely difficult for him to be on a new team and try to focus for that championship. And definitely difficult for some of these Celtics fans as well. I know watching that ovation and watching that tribute video, I was tearing up on my couch as well, just because I feel so much passion for the guy and truly miss him being on this team. But if we want to keep diving in, Marcus Smart said that Boston is a second home for me in returning to the Boston tonight, talking about how it is a fantastic home for him and how much he really does appreciate this city, saying in a message to the Celtics fans before the game that he said, "Thank you guys, and I love you guys forever." Thank you, Marcus Smart. Thank you for being such a vocal leader and such, a big presence, obviously, with Isaiah Thomas, Al Horford. From those young Celtics days back in the 2014-2015 era, we had to fight to watch some of those games. I know I did personally. And having Marcus Smart being, that young focal piece, that guy to kind of rely on, even though he wasn't that superstar-esque player that the Celtics had, he was always that intense guy that I always gravitated to because I really loved his nature of hustle plays and being a hard-nosed defender. I want to keep looking at Marcus Smart as well. He had some things to say about some ex-teammates in this game, talking about Jaylen Brown, saying, "It's not every day that I love you, but I love you every day." And this was fantastic to see. We obviously know that Marcus Smart and Jayson Tatum Jaylen Brown, had a little bit of a contradictions when they first started out, kind of butting heads at first. But honestly, those butting heads turned into a fantastic bond where both of these guys honestly natured and became best friends. Obviously, he also had tight relationships with Jayson Tatum, but him and Jaylen Brown were very, very close as they shared very, very similar mindsets to winning and competing at a high level. Jaylen Brown was absolutely devastated when Marcus Smart left, including Joe Mazzulla as well, who I did not mention in a clip here, but I want to highlight this as Joe Mazzulla said that he would give it his all for Marcus Smart as well, as he coached him for 4 years and flew all the way halfway across the country for his wedding, even though they weren't on the same side and same teammates anymore. We want to keep looking at this as well. The Celtics fans definitely embraced Marcus Smart in their biggest ways, giving the "We Love Marcus" chants in Boston for Marcus Smart following his ovation tonight, and the Boston Celtics recognized him as tonight's hero among us for all his community work in Boston. Now, if you guys do not know, the Hero Among Us award is given to a specific Boston standout candidate or citizen who does a lot for the Boston community. So obviously getting Marcus Smart to get this recognition as well was fantastic for him, because he also did so much for the city of Boston. Immediately coming into Boston, helping out in hospitals, helping out with the youth game changer program, doing so much at the YMCAs, and being a true vocal point of being what it was to be a Boston Celtic on the court and off the court. Marcus Smart resembled a great human being, and being him represented and recognized for this, especially being at home for the first time in forever, was definitely heartwarming for him as well. We want to keep looking at some more Boston Celtics and Marcus Smart stuff. Jayson Tatum chatted with Marcus Smart with discourse through tonight's of the game, and he also motioned to the crowd to cheer louder when Marcus Smart got his tribute video, which I thought was very interesting as well. Jayson Tatum and Marcus Smart, Jayson Tatum always taking those, funny lift videos the season before that. Always got to see Marcus Smart kind of goofing around, having fun, the goofy teammate back and forth. We love to see that. And, Jayson Tatum realizing that Marcus Smart deserves that recognition as well. And the fans, like I mentioned, gave Marcus Smart everything he deserved tonight. As you guys can see, the crowd was chanting, "Thank you, Marcus," but got interrupted by the trumpet noises at the TD Garden. They did this multiple times throughout the night with 5 minutes to go, with 3 minutes to go. You could hear it through the TV screens. You could tell that these fans were ecstatic to have their leader and their voice and heart and soul back in Boston. Even though he's on the other team, even though he didn't play, just getting to have him in the building was amazing. Him walking out, Boston Celtics fans chanting, "Thank you, Marcus," walking out of the building. And as you guys want to see, Marcus Smart chants continue to echo all the way to the halls of the TD Garden. At the end of the game, everyone was chanting, "Marcus Smart, Marcus Smart." I generally don't think there's a player so beloved by his former franchise in the entire league. And that's what I'm saying. I have to agree with Noah Dalzell here. You see a lot of NBA fans kind of switch up on their teams. You also see a lot of players switch up on their fan bases after getting traded recently. And Marcus Smart realized that this whole Kristaps Porzingis deal was business. Obviously, the Boston Celtics didn't want to get rid of a guy in Marcus Smart. They wanted to keep him. They looked to move off Brogdon. But having to get that deal done to get Kristaps Porzingis on that extension available contract and to be able to secure him long term is what made the Celtics have to get rid of a guy in Marcus Smart kind of just outright, because Brogdon wasn't available anymore because of his injuries. You had to get rid of another guard. Smart was the only movable guard that they had available. And it's sad to say that obviously losing him for all that stuff, it's tough, because the Celtics, still are a top team without Marcus Smart. But having him come back, having him be such a vocal point, and having him, realize this whole business thing had to happen. He mentioned before the game, he understands that it's a business. He would have done the same move. Would have liked a little bit more communication, which I can agree on. But he understands that it was a business decision. It had to be moved, had to be done. But ultimately, he understands and is well accomplished and very, very thankful for the love that he got from the Celtics fans. Like I can mention, thank you guys. I love you guys forever. Even though he realizes he's not a Boston Celtic wearing the colors anymore, he knows he's a Boston Celtic in the blood, and his fans will always appreciate him. Thank you so much, Marcus Smart. Can't thank you for enough for coming out, and even though you didn't get to play, being such a great sport, getting supported tonight, and I can't wait to see you play in the Garden next year, hopefully, versus the Boston Celtics. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode here on Celtics Digest as we broke down this fantastic movement of talking about Marcus Smart. Let me know your guys' thoughts and comments about Marcus Smart in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.